The final of our 10.5 objects has had a great impact on modern lives, and it's connected with the development of television. Directly because many of us will remember sitting around the family television watching episodes of Markham and Wise at Christmas or Doctor Who, and indirectly because it led to a massive improvement in display screen technology, which of course is nowadays used in computers and mobile phones. But in the first decades of the 20th century, there were a number of inventors around the globe who were looking into the concept of transmitting images, whether still or moving, using radio waves, what you might call seeing by wireless. And hence these are often called men of vision, pun intended. In Falkirk, they include enthusiasts like John Hart, who owned a radio shop in the east end of the high street. These enthusiasts would gather together and discuss the problems behind it. But it wasn't a local man who was the genius on this occasion. It was a man from Helensburgh called John Logie Baird, who had relatives in Camelon. And he would come through for his holidays and he would join the enthusiasts. He would borrow valves and bits and pieces from John Hart, and he got to know Falkirk quite well over that period. And according to one account, in 1925, John Logie Baird came through to demonstrate his new apparatus at the Temperance Café on the Lint rigs. And the idea of that particular evening was that he would take a wax dummy that he'd created called Stooky Bill, and he would transmit the image of the wax dummy from one room to another room. But of course, the people of Falkirk are somewhat sceptical, and on this occasion they thought that perhaps the image was already embedded in the receiving device, and that rather than using the wax dummy, they should take a member of the audience and transmit his image. A young boy was chosen on that occasion called John Shaw, and his image was successfully transmitted from one room to the next live, so they knew it was real. That young boy eventually grew up to be a pattern maker in Larbert. And he wanted to commemorate the occasion, so he made a wooden pattern to cast into a plaque, which would be affixed to the wall of the Temperance Café to commemorate that event. As it happens, it was never fixed to the wall, and both the pattern and the iron plaque are now in the collections of Falkirk Museum. According to official records, the first practical demonstration by John Logie Baird was on the 26th of January 1926, so the following year, which makes the Falkirk date quite significant if it could be authenticated. But that's the problem, and that's why the plaque was never attached, in that we don't have any written records of that occasion. Baird, of course, went on to develop all sorts of additional features associated with the television. So he created the first electronic compilation of the three primary colours to create colour television tubes. And in 1928, the Baird Television Development Company transmitted across the Atlantic. So these were making great strides at this time. To acknowledge his association with the Falkirk area, though, on the 5th of September 1926, he donated that original transmitter set to Hart Radio Supplies, and it was displayed in the shop window for many years, until, of course, its significance was realised and it was then donated to Dollar Park Museum, where it was displayed for quite a considerable length of time. But just like the carronade, which involved a number of people of mechanical ability and skilled artisans to create and put together an innovative project, so with the television, it was the product of the creative genius of many people across the globe using unseen forces of nature, electrical wizardry. So it's only a partial connection with the Falkirk area. But what's really nice is that this earliest transmitter, which is part of the museum collection has a story relating back to the iron founding industry and John Shaw. So it's a wonderful connection to have between the two. It's the final of our 10.5 objects, but of course the Falkirk story continues, so who knows what we'll have in the future.